So, Garrett, Donald Trump seemed enraged by how Nikki Haley reacted to her loss by coming back and challenging him rather than throwing in the towel. What does all this show?
Yeah, look, Donald Trump was clearly frustrated by Nikki Haley's speech last night and by the fact that she appears committed to sticking around in this race. You heard it in his speech. You saw it on Truth Social, where he called her delusional. So his campaign is going to pivot to really going after her aggressively, I think, in the next couple of weeks. If you think you saw aggressive before, I'm told, wait till you see what happens between now and the South Carolina primary about a month from now. And digging into the numbers, you see the strengths and the weaknesses apparent for Donald Trump last night. If you look at the groups of voters who he won, it looks like the Republican primary electorate. It's very conservative voters. It's self-described Republican voters in which he dominated. It's lower income voters and voters with no college degrees. That is who makes up the Republican primary electorate in many of the states we're going to see in the coming months. But when you look into the groups that Nikki Haley won, you see the potential weaknesses for Donald Trump, perhaps beyond this primary in a general election, where Nikki Haley was winning with more moderate voters. She was winning with first-time primary voters, many of whom are younger, and independent voters. These are the people you have to win in battleground states if you want to actually become president of the United States. So last night, while it was a very good night for Donald Trump, it was also a little bit of an X-ray of the challenges he potentially faces going forward into the fall should he lock up this nomination.
And Kristen, Trump was brutal towards Haley in his speech last night. Well, she really stepped it up. So is this a preview of the next 4 weeks before we get to the South Carolina voting on the 24th of February?
I think it is a preview of what we are going to see, Andrea, and you're going to see former President Trump and, quite frankly, his allies try to apply pressure to Nikki Haley to get out of this race. We saw that with the RNC chairwoman, Ronna McDaniel, who called for unity, all but saying it's time for Nikki Haley to drop out. And we're starting to see other GOP senators, members of Congress, coalesce around Trump. So all of that's going to apply pressure. And here's the big question. Here's what we're watching for, Andrea. What do Haley's donors have to say about all of this? Right now, her campaign officials telling me, look, they are quite confident their donors are with them. There's about a month, though, until South Carolina. Will that remain the case if she continues to trail Trump by double digits? Garrett laid out some of what we learned last night, and I want to just delve into a couple of more topics. One, what we learned about independents. Look at her margin with independents and how many independents turned out last night. 44% of those who voted in the New Hampshire primary describe themselves as independents. Why is that significant? Well, it's significant because it underscores why a state like New Hampshire is tailor-made for Nikki Haley and why her path just gets that much more challenging moving forward in a South Carolina, in a lot of the Super Tuesday states where you have about double the amount of Republicans and fewer independents. The other thing that was notable, Andrea, and this might be significant from a general election standpoint, 51% said no. President Biden did not legitimately win in 2020. Now, of course, that has been challenged in court. He did win legitimately, but that's how many people believe what Trump has said. And that's the type of challenge that the Biden folks are up against in this reelection effort. So some real lessons there, not just about this primary, but also potentially, as Garrett was laying out, about the general election as well. But again, Andrea, just going back to that original point, Nikki Haley is facing a really uphill battle when it comes to the actual math and now the momentum, because Donald Trump has two big wins under his belt. And he's got a lot of momentum heading into South Carolina, where he's locked up the endorsement of the delegation there, as well as a number of top officials and the governor as well.
And, Kristen, what did the big turnout, the record Republican turnout, at least tell you last night?
Well, look, it tells you that people are energized around Donald Trump, but it also tells you, and the Nikki Haley campaign argues this, that he was not given a mandate. Look, he got over 50%. They say if he's being viewed as an incumbent, why isn't that margin even higher? And that's part of the argument for why Nikki Haley is staying in this race. What was also notable is that you really had this divide amongst how many people describe themselves as MAGA Republicans. Now, part of that could be because that term has been turned into a pejorative by President Biden. But look, it speaks to the fact that there are some warning signs for former President Trump in this general election as he heads forward.